He wants another stimulus. He wants to hire more government workers. He says we need more firemen, more policemen, more teachers. Did he not get the message of Wisconsin? The American people did. It's time for us to cut back on government and help the American people.
Mitt Romney finally had to answer a direct question about his worldview on teachers, firefighters, and police officers. But as you would expect, he wasn't being grilled by the most hard-hitting journalists in the profession.
The president is really out of touch with what's happening across America.
He says that you're out of touch. He says that you want to cut firefighters and teachers, that you don't understand what's going on in these communities. What do you say?
Hang on one moment. He says you want to cut firefighters and teachers? Let's remind everyone once again who said it in the first place.
He says we need more firemen, more policemen, more teachers. Did he not get the message of Wisconsin? The American people did. It's time for us to cut back on government.
Okay, we just want to make sure it's clear who raised the issue of not hiring teachers, firefighters, and police officers. Let's continue with the withering journalistic assault from Fox and Friends.
He says that you're out of touch. He says that you want to cut firefighters and teachers, that you don't understand what's going on in these communities. What do you say to that, Governor?
Well, that's a very strange accusation. Of course, teachers and firemen and policemen are hired at the local level and also by states. The federal government doesn't pay for teachers, firefighters, or policemen. So obviously that's completely absurd.
So Romney completely avoids the original point he made and instead says it's absurd to think the government can pay for public service workers. One guy who didn't think this was so absurd was Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney. When Romney was governor and had to close a budget gap, largely due to state payroll costs, $500 million in unanticipated federal grants further reduced the Massachusetts budget shortfall, according to factcheck.org. But back to today. In one breath, Mitt Romney said it's absurd to think federal money can go towards state and local employment. In the next breath, he slammed the president for trying to do the exact thing he says can't be done.
He's got a new idea, though, and that is to have another stimulus and to have the federal government send money to try and bail out cities and states. It didn't work the first time. It certainly wouldn't work the second time.
The president's plan to prevent more state and local layoffs is hardly a new idea, as Romney calls it. The American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, also known as the stimulus plan, created or saved 1.4 to 3.3 million jobs. That's according to the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office. And what kind of jobs are we talking about when we say state and local government jobs? Mostly teachers, who represent the overwhelming majority of state and local jobs. Protective services, like cops and firefighters, are number two. Let's back up for a minute. Last Friday, Mitt Romney said Americans don't want more teachers, firefighters, or police officers. Yesterday, his campaign surrogate said there was wisdom in his comments. Today, Romney claims it's not possible for the federal government to create new jobs for state and local governments. So which one is it, Mitt? If only we could find someone in the Republican Party willing to tell the truth.
I think we have to come to grips with how big the challenge is. And does that mean there will be fewer teachers? The honest answer is yes.
I never thought I would see the day when Newt Gingrich was the honesty broker in the Republican Party. I'll have a lot more on this story with Howard Fineman and Richard Wolff. Is Mitt Romney campaigning to be president of Fantasyland? And there's a lot more coming up on The Ed Show. Breaking news out of Georgia. A judge rules that the Ku Klux Klan may not adopt a highway. I'll tell you why I disagree with the ruling. And can anyone get a pass for using the N-word?
Gwyneth Paltrow's a real you know what I'm saying? So, that's my homie. Shout out to Gwyneth. You know what I'm saying? So, some people, it gets a pass.
Hip-hop icon and entrepreneur Russell Simmons has a lot to say on the issue, and he's here tonight.